Hi, my name is Taylor Garcia, and this is for Module 1 for the class AEP 859. Today, we're going to be talking about how leadership impacts academic and non academic activities and barriers. Like I said, my name is Taylor Garcia. I'm from Goddard, Kansas, which is a small suburb just west of Wichita. I teach in Wichita and I teach first grade in USD 259. I just had a baby in April. His name is Emmett, so I'm a first time mom. My husband's name is Daniel. We've been together since I was in high school, so a little over 11 years now. And one of my favorite things to do is to go to Table Rock Lake, and we spend quite a bit of time there year round. So, a couple things that my school and district do that are academic activities. One thing is something called Battle of the Books, which is a district wide competition. There's a full list of books, and then it's like a competition about comprehension questions. There's lots of bilingual programs. Horace Mann is the name of a school that's an example that offers a bilingual program. There's alternative schools that offer therapeutic aid for students. We have magnet schools. I actually teach at a magnet school, and our focus is international exploration and also leadership. And then some other examples are communication, technology, environmental literacy, STEM, science, health and wellness, aerospace and engineering, and those are just a couple of the programs offered in our district. We have some schools that offer Project Lead the Way engineering curriculum. We have IB programs at both the middle school and high school level. We have the Education Imagine Academy, which is a fully online program, which is obviously more popular for this school year in particular. We have Early College Academies, which is a partnership with Friends University, which is a local university here for students to take more college credit classes in high school than just a standard school might offer. We have career and technical education through some of our high school programs, and we also have the Wichita Adult Learning Center. And then another one that I listed here was AVID, which could be academic, but it's also a non-academic activity that is offered by our district. And then some of the non-academic activities in my school and also in the district. Second step is our social and emotional curriculum used at the elementary level. Leader in Me is used at the elementary, middle, high school, and our district leadership team. Uses a lot of Leader in Me things from the Stephen Covey program. We have after school clubs, we have Go Run Club, sports, Latchkey. Again, AVID was listed because not only is that can be used in an academic sense, but it is also all about being organized and prepared to help kids be successful from elementary all the way through high school and then beyond. We have robotics programs, Girl Scouts and Boy Scouts, and lots of fine arts programs at the elementary, middle, and high school level. So these are a couple things that I took away from the resources, both that were resources given to us and some of the resources that I went out and found on my own, is that some of these barriers that we're talking about are not limited to students in an educational setting. These can be things that maybe adults struggle with, and they're not in an educational setting, they're in a business setting. So that's one thing that really struck me, was that this isn't only about kids in school. This is about adults and people living in the real world. And something that might be a barrier for one student, maybe it's not for another student, because a lot of these skills, and I say this here in one of my next points, is some people say it's the school's responsibility to teach it, and other people say, well, that responsibility shouldn't fall on the school. That's kind of something that they learn at home and learn in those extracurricular activities and things that they're involved in. And a lot of stakeholders, from the research that I was doing and the research that I found, was a lot of stakeholders are saying, we care about these skills more than we care about their test scores and the grades that they got in high school and college and their transcripts and things like that. So these things are extremely important for students to learn early on, to help them be successful. And then again, the one I said here, there's a big disconnect as to when and where students should be learning these non-academic skills. Um, Another thing that I really took away, they talked about this in a couple resources, and some of the ones I found is there is no standardized way for us to assess non academic skills. There's lots of standardized tests for reading and math and science and all these other things, but these skills that people are saying are extremely important, there's really no way to measure them. So who knows, maybe down the road there will be some sort of measurement for these kind of skills. And again, these test scores from these standardized tests, that doesn't really show how successful a student can or cannot be in a different setting outside of an educational setting, because they might score extremely well on the test in math and science, but maybe they can't problem solve, or maybe they can't work well with others, and maybe they can't listen to others and take in someone else's ideas. So, those tests are great and they're very helpful, but they can't tell us everything. Um, and then another thing that really struck me, even just thinking back to some of the kids I've come in contact with through my years in education, is that if they don't have these skills, maybe they're getting falsely labeled with, oh, well, that student has, some sort of a behavior disorder, or they have some sort of academic deficit just because they can't process or they can't problem solve or they can't, whatever it might be. So maybe it's not necessarily that they have a behavior or they have a deficit. Maybe it's just that they don't have the basic skills to learn in a traditional setting. So maybe learning those skills would help them be more successful in a traditional education setting. Um, Another thing that really shocked me, I know I keep saying that, but a lot of these things were just like, wow, this is so surprising, is that one person made the comment about technology being to blame for the lack of non academic skills. And it says here in one of the quotes that I use, I'm going to read it just because I love it. A superintendent made the connection between the rise of cell phones and the decline of non academic skills. How many kids don't go outside and play with other kids anymore? They sit inside and play on a tablet or a computer or a phone, and they're not out playing and problem solving and have their imagination flowing the way people did, even 10 years ago. Um, and maybe, with all of this research coming out and discussing, maybe it is time to limit our focus on standardized tests and the test scores and things like that, because these skills, from all the research, is kind of showing that people care more about these skills than they care about the test scores and other things. Um, and lastly, the last thing that I said I took away was just we need to take time. Our schedule is filled, it's like one thing after another, academic, academic, academic. We need to take some time in our day to put some time in to learn some of these non academic skills just to help kids be successful beyond the classroom setting. One thing that I have seen my building leader do, I love my principal. She's great. We work really well together. And I love that she is very emphatic about the importance of relationships between students and kids. The learning will come when it comes, but before that happens, the student really has to trust you and know that your classroom is a safe place for them to make mistakes and fail and try again and try something that maybe no one has ever thought before. So that is one thing I have seen her do, is it's very important for us to take the time to make sure that students know how important they are to us and know how much we care about them in order for them to trust us to be their teacher and help them learn and grow and, again, make mistakes and try again. And it's okay if you make a mistake. And then lastly, for my standard correlation, the standard was 4.1. I said that this research provided me, and some of the own research I did on my own, increase my content knowledge of barriers and how detrimental they can really be to our students. It opened my eyes to know that these skills might be learned at home or they might not be learned at home. And then that kind of falls on me as an educator to help, kind of fill in some of those gaps. And some of those kids are really going to need help. And I think that it's important for us to place emphasis on these non-academic programs and things. Obviously, academics are still important, but these things are important as well. And then as I prepare to be a future educational leader, this module is really brought these non-academic skills more to my attention. I'm a classroom teacher. I teach first grade, and I know that these skills are important. So when I take on a new role, I don't only need to be worried about, student behavior and what is my staff doing, and are the teachers implementing the curriculum correctly. All of that is important, not saying that it's not important, but I need to advocate for non-academic skills to be taught as well. Because if you have those things in place, that's kind of the how we learn. And then the curriculum is the what we learn for the students. And then for my reflection, I just said that it's going to help me one day, because I'm going to take time to make sure teachers are teaching these skills, modeling them, implementing them in their classrooms so that students are able to be successful beyond the walls of our school and beyond a school setting. And then here are the references that I used. Some of them were the references, the resources that were given, and then some of them were the research that I had done on my own. Thank you so much for watching, and I'm really looking forward